Welcome to the Chapter 7 lecture for Inventor. Our learning objectives today are understand the concept and usage of the Born technique, understand the importance of parent-child relations in features, use the suppress feature option, and resolve undesired feature interactions. All right, let's talk about the Born technique. In parametric modeling, the base feature, or the first solid feature of a solid model, is the center of all features and is considered the key feature of the design. Much emphasis is placed on the selection of the base feature. A more advanced technique of creating solid models is base orphan reference node, known as Born. That's base orphan reference node, known as the Born technique. So today we're going to look a little bit into the Born technique. So with the Cartesian coordinate system established, we have three mutual perpendicular datum planes, right? We have the xy, the yz, and the zx planes. So the base feature is still important, but the base feature is no longer the only choice for creating subsequent features, right? You can make features off of other things besides the base feature now. So we're going to look at how to do that today. So we're going to first start by selecting our application under Tools. So Tools, Application Options. And we're going to use this to set up behaviors such as colors, file locations, etc. So we're going to open that and click on Part. Note that the sketch plane can be aligned to one of those work planes during a new creation. Confirm that no new sketch is selected right here. No new sketch, that's good. So then we're going to click on the Sketch tab right here. Under the Sketch tab, we're going to turn off the Look at a Sketch Plane on Sketch Creation. So look at a sketch plane on Sketch Creation. In Part Environment. So we're going to turn that off right there. We're going to apply that. We're going to click OK like we did. And that should now be the case in our drawing that we're about to set up. So now we're going to click on the standard toolbar up here. We're going to click New. We're going to be creating this one in English standard units, and it's going to be a standard part file. So we'll click Create, and then we'll apply the Born technique. So in the Parts window, click the plus symbol in front of the origin feature to display more information about it. So this is your parts browser window or your model browser. And here's the plus they're talking about right here. Click it, and then you have all these options down here. You have the YZ, the XY, then you have the X. So you can't see some of them because of the way we're turned. Let me turn it this way so you can see more of them. So there's your three planes, okay? So inside the browser window, click on with the right mouse button on one of these planes like that. And then you can turn on its visibility if you want to see it the whole time. And you can do that to all three of them if you want. And then you'll have all three planes visible as you're drawing your drawing. So you can see as I look around this, all three planes are there. Let's get back to the view I like here, front, this way, turn it just a little bit. So there's all three planes right there. Now in the sketch toolbar, we're going to start a 2D sketch right here. We're going to start a 2D sketch. We're going to select the plane as the XZ plane to start on. So that's XY, that's YZ, and that's the XZ plane right here. So notice it didn't turn to the sketch because we turned that off and told it not to. I'm going to go ahead and do that so I can see it better though. So now we're starting it on this plane right here. I'm going to go ahead and turn the visibility off. I don't need those right now. All right, so we're starting on this plane right here. What we're going to draw is we are going to draw a center-to-center slot. Where do you find the center-to-center slot? Under this rectangle tool, if you click the drop-down, you have all options like 3-point rectangle, 2-point center rectangle, 3-point center rectangle, and then here is slot, center-to-center, which is what it says. So we're going to select slot, center-to-center. And we're going to draw a line along here. And then you see the slot starts being made. So we're just going to stretch it out, make it look kind of like that. So this is where our slot starts. Now that we have that made, we're going to draw 2 circles at this point right here. We're just going to kind of make them fit. We'll adjust this stuff later as we go. Okay. So far we've got that slot. We can dimension it up if we want. I'm not going to dimension it up right now. But we have to make it the correct size. So here we go. This one is supposed to be 5. So you can see that's a little bit bigger than it was just a moment ago. And so to the halfway point right here would obviously be 2.5, which is correct, right? And it's saying this is over-dimensioning the sketch, so I'm not going to do that. It says I still need 6 dimensions to completely dimension the sketch like we talked about in the chapter the other day. Okay, now this right here it says is 5.5, excuse me. And same thing on this one, 0.5. All right, so those are correct. Any other measurements I'm missing? From here to here should be 1. Let's make that 1. Which means also from here to here should be 1. But it is 1 now because exactly that's over dimensioning the sketch because it's the same as that. So I don't need that dimension, but we'll leave it there anyway. All right. So now we have it set up the way they want us to have it set up. This is what our slot is going to look like. So now we're going to create our first extrude. Almost everyone knows how to extrude now, right? We're going to finish the sketch. We're going to click extrude. And on extrude, we're going to click this, and it wants us to extrude it. It looks like 0.5 inches, half an inch. So we're going to extrude it half an inch. Say OK. And now, as you can see, we have our slot. We have our slot extruded. And we are ready to move on with this project. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look over at the model tree at the implied parent-child relationships. So now under the model tree, you see we have extrusion 1. That shows you the extrusion. And if you click on the plus, you can look at the original sketch right there. And if you want to see that sketch, again, you can turn on visibility. And then on the bottom, you will see that sketch right there. I'm not going to have visibility on. I just wanted to show that to you. All right, so now we're going to create the second solid feature that goes on top of this first solid feature. So for the next solid feature, we're going to create a top section on the design. So we're going to start a 2D sketch, and we're going to start it on this face right here. Or, which I want to do, we're going to pick the XY plane, because that puts us right in the middle. So we now have a 2D sketch started on the XY plane. And we're going to change this, so we want to look at wireframe so we can see what we're doing. So you need to go to View, Visual Styles, and they're all kind, realistic, shaded, shaded with edges, shaded with hidden edges. Wireframe is what it told us to go to. So now as you can see right through it. It is just the wireframe of what the thing looks like. So now we're going to go back to the Sketch tab. We're going to draw an arc center point. So we went to click the center point. Let's get a better view of this whole thing. Let's see here. So you know when you get to the center point that it is going to align with itself. Center point right there. So we click the center point. And then we're going to point this direction. And we're going to draw an arc just like this. And that's not actually in the center because I didn't draw it in exactly the right place. So that's something that we can fix though. So we can go back into our first sketch right here. Let's finish this sketch and let's go back into sketch 1. Edit sketch. And since I didn't do it before, let's move, or actually, you know what's easier than that? Let's take this center point here and we're going to take it and match it up with this right here, and then do it the other way. Take this and match it up with this right here. Okay. Now center is center, and now if you look at that, that is now directly in the center. So if you make a mistake like I did, there's always a way to fix it. Don't freak out and think that it's all over. There's always a way to fix it. So now I'm back in the sketch that we were just doing. So now we've got that. So we're going to move the cursor on top of the general dimensions icon. We're going to create and adjust the radius of the arc to 1.75. So right now it's 1.713. We want it to be 1.75. So now we've got it the size that they would like us to have it. Now we're going to select the line command because, as I've mentioned to you guys, we have to have a closed item or a closed part in order to be able to extrude it. You cannot extrude it if it is not closed. So this is now closed. So, and it's also the coincidence constraint up here if you want to do that. Got to find the coincident. There it is, the coincident one, to make it work right. But anyway, all right, so now we're going to right-click and say Finish 2D Sketch. Now we've got this part here, and we want to make that part extruded. So we're going to go up here to Extrude. We're going to select that right there, which you see we did. We're going to use the symmetric one, which is this one right here, because we're going both directions. And we're going to extrude it 2.5. And now, as you can see, it covers the whole thing. Click OK. So now we're still also in wireframe, so you can kind of see all the way around it. But now you see we've got that part starting to come together. So now that the extrude is over, we've got that. We're going to create a cut feature. So we want to cut out of this thing. So we have it looking like this. We want to take part of the front here out. So in order to do that, we are going to select the plane to create our 2D sketch on. So create a 2D sketch. We're going to select this as the plane that we want to create it on. And I am going to go back to realistic or shaded because it's easier to see. But we're drawing on this plane right here. So what it wants us to do is make a rectangle. Let's go back to the sketch. Change this back to rectangle. And what we're going to do is just draw a rectangle in here. Something like this. And then we're going to use our dimensioning tool once again to get it what they want. So this is supposed to be 2. It's 2.5, so we change it to 2. Then they want it to be 1 height. So here to here is 0.7. It needs to be 1. And from here over to here also is 1. So now you can see it's kind of in the middle right there. There's still a dimension needed on it, top to bottom. But we're not going to do that. We're not worried about it. That's exactly where we want it to be because we have it lined up the way we want it, starting right there, 2 up, 1 over. So we're going to take it all the way down. We take it all the way down to the bottom. Okay. So we need to make a dimension from here to here. And it needs to be 0. All right, there we go. Now we have it in the right place. So now for the second cut feature, we're going to finish this sketch. We're going to extrude this feature that we just made. I'm going to turn it where we can see what we're doing. We're going to cut it through all because we want to go all the way through it and click OK. And now you can see we have that part cut out. So now we have a square cutout running through this cutout that this part that we just did. All right, so now they want us to do another cut feature, the second cut feature. So what we're going to do is we are going to turn this to this face right here so we can see it. Again, we're not on the original face. That's what we're talking about. We don't have to use that for everything. We're going to create a 2D sketch right there. And we are going to draw a little hole in the middle of that. So you're going to do circle. You're going to choose right here. You're going to make a center point circle, which is what I did, and it's going to be 0.25. So now you've got that. And now we're going to extrude cut. We finish sketch. We extrude. We find cut right here. And we can say through all and say OK. And now we have our extrude cut right through the middle of that. Okay? So now you can examine the parent-child relation if you want. And we are also going to rename all of these features so that we know what they are. So extrusion 1, that's our base. So we're going to call that base. Let's sink that back down. Extrusion 2, that is our main body. So we're going to call it main body. Extrusion 3, that is our rectangular cut. So rec cut. And extrusion 4 that we just did. Extrusion 4 is the center drill. Center drill. So now it's easier to know what each one of these are as we have renamed them. A very important thing to do is to rename those. So now our parents to the center drill are the origin, the rectangular cut, and then we have the center drill. And of course, you can also modify part dimensions if you'd like. Any change to the parent feature will also affect a change to the child. So if I take this base and I go in here and I edit the sketch and I say, now I want this to be 4, finish sketch. Now you can see it doesn't look the same. It changed everything. Everything looks different. That curve is different. Everything is different from that right there. So I'm going to change it back to where it was. All right, now we're back to where it was, but you can do that. The center drill will stay in the center. This will stay where it is, but it just compressed it together. And now you got to remember that engineering design usually go through many revisions and changes. Almost never do they get it done on the first try, okay? It almost always takes more than one try to get this stuff done. So you can suppress features as well. We'll talk about that a little bit, but I'm running out of time. I want to get this video done in under 20 minutes. So there are several ways to do all this that we can also talk about in class if you want, or you can look in your chapter. But this covers everything that I really wanted to show you for this lesson. And of course, if you have any more questions, we can talk about it in class, or you can talk to Mr. Farmer about it in class. So there is a quick way to do some of the things, the base feature and the parent-child that we needed to talk about today. All right? Thank you guys very much, and we will talk to you guys next time.